Welcome to the Explainer. Today, our goal is to completely transform how you look at data. We are going to upgrade you from a mere spreadsheet typist into a strategic business analyst. We're going to make sure you are fully equipped and completely ready to crush your upcoming A2 assignment.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We're starting off with spreadsheet thinking, then laying down some foundations, moving right into logical and conditional analysis, jumping over to charts and interpretation, and finally, we'll wrap the whole thing up with everything you need to know about the AS2 assignment.
So part 1, spreadsheet thinking. It is absolutely vital to understand that good analysis isn't just about mindlessly clicking buttons or trying to memorize a giant list of formulas. It really has to start with a strategic framework.
Think of it like a pipeline, a data-to-decision pipeline. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with a raw business question. That question then dictates the specific calculation you perform on the grid. Next, that calculation spits out a mathematical observation. And finally, you turn that observation into a decision-relevant interpretation. You're not just crunching numbers, you are translating raw data into actual, actionable evidence.
To actually see this in action, we are going to use this cookie sales and operations data set throughout our explainer today. As you can see, we've got sales reps, regions, cookie categories, deal values, and order status. It perfectly represents the exact kind of structured columns you're going to face out there in the real world.
Moving right along to part 2, foundations. Let's look at how this builds our baseline mastery of the spreadsheet grid.
Let's start with the absolute bedrock of mathematical calculations. If your business question is, what is our total revenue? The sum function simply adds up all those values in our deal value column, giving us $40,000. Want to know the typical order size? The average function swoops in and tells us it's $10,000. Proper range containment here, like specifically referencing D2 through D5, is essential so your formulas capture the exact data required and nothing else.
Now, this is absolutely crucial, understanding cell referencing. Relative references automatically adjust their coordinates when you copy them down a row, which is perfect for sequential transaction lists. But if you have a static parameter, let's say a fixed global tax rate, you must use an absolute reference. You do this by locking it in place with dollar signs. Honestly, failing to lock static parameters is a classic analyst mistake, and it will shift your ranges and completely break your model.
Before you even think about writing a complex formula, you got to run your diagnostic protocols. Sorting and filtering are your essential first steps for cleaning data. They let you instantly isolate records, evaluate ranges, and spot weird outlier values that could completely skew your analysis. Always check your data integrity first.
But what happens when things go sideways? You get the dreaded value error. This usually happens when you try to multiply a text string, like the word delayed, by a numerical dollar input. Or it pops up when a shifting relative range misses its absolute lock, accidentally pulling blank cells into your math. To fix it, you just systematically audit your coordinates.
All right, part 3, logical and conditional analysis. This is where things get really fun. We're going to learn how to translate manual business rules into automated spreadsheet formulas.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how IF and IS functions completely automate categorization for us. For the business question, is this order eligible for a penalty? The IF function checks if the status is delayed and spits out yes or no. For a more complex question like, what is the performance tier? The IS function categorizes deals into high or medium, all in a single expression. A super common error here? Forgetting your quotation marks around text criteria. Don't let that trip you up.
Next up, we layer in Boolean logic gates. If the business question is, did they meet both targets, the AND function demands that all conditions are met, so a deal has to be over $10,000 and in the East. But for the question, is this a high-risk region, the OR function evaluates as true if just one single condition is met. A frequent pitfall here is assuming OR means an exclusive choice, or just completely confusing the two gates.
So let's move from pure logic into conditional counting. If your manager asks, hey, how many orders were delayed, COUNTIF isolates that specific observation, returning 2. If they get specific and want to know how many were delayed in the East, COUNTIFS evaluates multiple criteria in parallel, returning 1. Just watch out for referencing ranges of unequal height that will instantly throw a value error. And it's the exact same idea for conditional aggregation. SUMIF gives us total sales just for chocolate chip cookies. SUMIFS gives us total sales for chocolate chip cookies specifically in the East region. Now, I have to explicitly warn you about a very common student error here, reversing the SUMIFS parameter sequence. Just remember, the target sum range always comes first in SUMIFS.
To wrap up this section, let's tackle the question, which orders are below target? By applying conditional formatting, Excel will automatically highlight specific cells, giving you this instant visual risk cue. But listen, the common error here is huge. Colors are just visual cues. They are absolutely not formal analytical evidence.
Okay, part 4, charts and interpretation. This is the critical step where we communicate our findings visually, while fully recognizing the strict limits of what our data can actually prove.
Let's look at this simple bar or column chart. It's perfectly suitable because the business question requires a direct category comparison. The mathematical observation here is factual. Chocolate chip leads sales by a massive margin. However, it is vital to understand that this chart does not prove why chocolate chip is selling more, only that it is.
Now when you want to show limited composition, like how much each region contributed to total sales, a pie or donut chart is your ideal tool. Our observation here is clear: the East region completely dominates our composition. But remember, this chart does not prove historical growth over time. It's literally just a single snapshot.
Consider this source data detailing monthly marketing spend against deal value. This kind of numerical tracking is exactly what you'd use to build a line chart to observe trends over time. Or maybe a scatter plot to look for relationships between marketing expenditure and sales performance.
Let's anchor all of these visuals with some strict rules of interpretation. Your observations must be factual trends, and I'm going to heavily stress this point: an analytical observation is not a causal explanation. Just because a line chart shows sales going up alongside marketing spend, it does not establish direct causation. Oh, and a classic misleading chart error: zooming in on a truncated y-axis to make a tiny 1% increase look like a massive, game-changing spike. Never, ever mislead your audience like that.
Finally, part 5, the AS2 assignment, your proving ground. Honestly, everything we've covered today leads directly up to this moment.
Let's rapid fire through the strict specs. It is worth 10 marks, and it is completely an individual effort. It drops after session 4 and is due before session 5 begins. You'll be provided with a business caselet and a dataset, and you must submit one fully functioning Excel workbook. Capabilities from sessions 3 and 4 are strictly in scope, and you have to choose suitable analytical methods independently. You're going to be judged on accuracy, business relevance, and your ability to create a traceable trail of evidence, as well as your interpretation, understanding of limitations, and overall workbook quality.
Now listen up, because I need to deliver a firm, crystal clear warning. There is a strict, zero-tolerance, no AI policy for this assignment. AI cannot be used for generating formulas, methods, corrections, or interpretations. If you use it, unauthorized use will lead to 0 marks, period. This is an assessment of your independent capability to handle data integrity, so do the work yourself. I'm going to conclude with this final, provocative thought for you to chew on. Produce accurate, verifiable, and decision-useful evidence, not merely spreadsheet outputs. So what's it going to be? Are you going to step up and act as a true strategic business analyst, or will you just remain a mere software operator? The choice is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.